Good morning, students. Welcome to our lecture series on remote sensing. In today's lecture, we are going to cover topic related to orbits. I am quite sure that you are well known about different type of orbits, and most of the students are quite familiar with these words. So, in today's topic, we are going to study about different type of satellite orbits. What are its characteristics, and which application, which particular orbits can be used. When a satellite is launched into the space, it moves in a well-defined path around the Earth. This particular path is called orbit of the satellite. Gravitational pull of Earth and velocity of the satellite are two basic factors that keeps the satellite in any particular orbit. The spatial and temporal coverage of satellite also depends on its orbit. Based on this, there are basically three types of orbits. The first one is geosynchronous orbit, or we can also say geostationary orbit. The second one is sun synchronous orbit, and third one is polar or near polar orbit. Sun synchronous orbit is a special case of polar orbit. Satellite orbits are matched to the capability and objective of the sensors they carry. Other selection can vary in terms of altitude, their heights, and their orientation and rotation relative to Earth. Here we are going to introduce some of the important terms related to satellite orbits and the details of different type of satellite orbits. So, what are the characteristics of satellite orbit? The following is the list of characteristics of satellite orbit. Okay. It covers orbital period, altitude, apogee, perigee, inclination, nadir, ground track, zenith angle, path, side lap and overlap, orbital cycle, and revisit time. I would like you to say that please note this definition. Okay. The first definition, which is important, is the path is for orbit. That's orbit is nothing but a path followed by satellite in space. Orbit may be circular or elliptical in shape. Now, orbital period. What is orbital period? The time taken by a satellite to complete one revolution in its orbit around Earth is called orbital period. The time taken by satellite to complete one revolution in its orbit around Earth is called orbital period. It varies from 100 minutes for a near polar Earth observing satellite to 24 hours for a geostationary satellite. So, depending on the type of orbit you select, the orbital period varies. The second important characteristic is altitude. Altitude of a satellite is its height with respect to surface immediately below it. Okay, depending on the designated or designed purpose of the satellite, the orbit may be located at low, moderate, or high altitude. Low altitude varies from 160 to 2000 km, and high altitude is approximate 36,000 km. High altitude are mainly used by geostationary satellites, and low altitude are used by polar orbitals. The another important characteristic is apogee and perigee. So, apogee is a point in the orbit where the satellite is at maximum distance from the Earth. Okay, in its orbit, it mainly orbital orbits are elliptical in shape, or it is near circular in shape. So the farthest point in the orbit is considered to be apogee from the surface of the Earth, from Earth. Now perigee is the point in the orbit where satellite is nearest to the Earth, the smallest distance. or the smallest point in the orbit. Okay. A schematic representation can be shown. At present, it is not available. Inclination is an important characteristic of satellite orbit. The inclination of the orbital plane is measured clockwise from equator. Okay. We are talking about orbital plane, not the inclination of Earth. So, inclination of orbital plane is measured clockwise from the equator. Orbital inclination for a remote sensing satellite is typically minus 99 degrees. At equatorial plane, it can be nearly 180 degrees, not exactly 180 degrees. Nadir, ground track and zenith. Nadir is a point of interception on the surface of the Earth of a radial line between the center of Earth and satellite. This is the point of the shortest distance from satellite to the Earth's surface. So don't get confused between perigee and nadir. Perigee is the nearest point, or you can say the shortest distance of satellite in Earth. Now nadir is the point of interception on the surface of Earth of the radial line between the center of Earth and satellite. So it is the shortest distance of the satellite from the Earth's surface, but nadir changes every time. Any point just opposite to nadir above the satellite is called zenith. Okay? The circle on the Earth surface described by nadir point as the satellite revolves is called ground track. So as I said, so as satellite moves, the nadir changes. Okay, and this particular develops a ground track. In other words, it is the projection of satellite orbit on ground surface. Ground track is the projection of satellite orbit on ground surface. Swath. The swath of the satellite is the width of the area on the surface of the Earth, which is imaged by the sensor during a single pass. It's quite simple. How much area has been covered by the satellite is described by the swath on the ground track. The field of view of the sensor shows the swath of the satellite. The width of the area on the surface of the Earth describe the swath of the area. For example, swath of the IRS-1C LIS-3 sensor is 141 km in the visible band and 148 km in shortwave infrared band. It varies from sensor to sensor. The side lap and overlap. Okay, you are quite familiar with this term, the side lap and overlap. So overlap is the common area on the consecutive image along the flight direction. For example, in LIS-3 sensor, a 7 km of overlap between two consecutive images is observed, while slide lap is the overlapping area of the images taken into adjacent flight lines. Okay. For example, side lap of IRS LIS-3 sensor at equator is the 23.5 km in visible band and 30 km in shortwave infrared band. This is the thing just observed in the satellite images. As the distance between successive orbits orbital passes decreases towards the higher latitudes, the side lap increases. It helps to achieve more frequent coverage of the area in the higher latitude. WIF sensor provides nearly 80 to 85% of overlap and side lap, and it is highly sensitive. Then comes orbital cycle. If you can say an orbital cycle is a completed when the satellite retraces its path. By retraces, I mean that when the nadir point of the satellite passes over the same point of the Earth's surface for a second time. Orbital cycle is also known as a repeat cycle of the satellite. The orbital cycle needs not to be same as the revisit period. Okay, what is a revisit period? So revisit period is the time elapsed between two successive views of the same area by a satellite. Using a steerable sensor or a spaceborne instrument, you can view off nadir areas before and after the orbit period passes over a target. In view of this off-nadir viewing capability of the satellite, revisit time can be less than the orbital cycle. Now the revisit time is important, especially when frequent imaging is required. Okay. In near polar orbit area at higher latitudes, the orbital paths come closer together, and simply the revisit time also changes. Moving towards the next portion, let us start by understanding different type of orbits. Okay, the first one is the geosynchronous or geostationary orbit. You are quite aware about this orbit. Geostationary or geosynchronous orbit is one in which the time required for the satellite to cover one revolution is same as that of Earth to rotate one about its polar axis. Okay, the altitude, especially the satellite, is this orbit is at a very high altitude, nearly approximate 36,000 kilometer. That is the altitude for a geosynchronous orbit. So this is the orbit in which the time required for satellite to cover one revolution is same as that for the Earth to rotate once about its polar axis. Remember, it is polar axis. The geosynchronous orbits are located in the equatorial plane mostly, and that is with an inclination of 180 degree, nearly 180 degree. It varies. Thus, from point on the equator, the satellite appears to be stationary, and the satellite revolves in the same direction as that of Earth, that is from west to east. And here you can see a pictorial representation of a geostationary orbit. Geostationary, or you can say a geosynchronous orbits, are mainly used by communication satellite or meteorological satellite. For example, INSAT, Meteosat, GOES, GMS, etc. are those satellites which are used for communication and meteorology, and those are geostationary. Satellites in geosynchronous orbit are located above any particular longitude to get a constant view of any designed or desired region. For example, GOES East and GOES West satellite, GOES East and GOES West satellite, are placed in orbits over North America, normally at 75 degree west and 135 degree east respectively. INSAT series, INSAT 3A, is located at 93.5 degree east longitude. The Japanese geostationary meteorological satellite GMS is located over New Guinea, and Meteosat over Europe. So geostationary satellites are designed for viewing a special or desired region. Because of their very high altitude, you can know the geostationary satellite footprints, that is the footprints of geostationary satellite, very high. They can yield a area coverage of 40 to 50% of the globe. A pictorial representation is shown. So it, in short, it covers 1/3 of globe, the geostationary satellite. Next comes the polar orbit. First and most important thing is this orbit have a 90-degree inclination, which we have already studied in means which I have already shown you what is inclination is one of the characteristic of an orbit. So this orbit have 90 degree of inclination. Okay. Polar orbits are usually medium or low orbits, and their height is approximately 700 to 800 kilometer compared to geosynchronous orbit. Consequently, the orbit period is less, which typically varies from 90 to 103 minutes. Therefore, satellites in polar orbits make more than one revolution around the Earth in a single day. You can, if you know some of the polar orbit satellite like MODIS and NOVA satellite, like NOVA 17 and NOVA 18. MODIS means Aqua satellite and Terra satellite have MODIS. So those are polar orbiting satellites. They shows multiple orbits of a satellite in a typical near polar orbit. Taking the advantage of the rotation of Earth, polar synchronous means this particular orbit takes the advantage of rotation of Earth on its own axis. Each time, newer segment of Earth will be under view of the satellite. The satellite's orbit and the rotation of Earth work together to allow complete coverage of Earth's surface after it has completed one complete cycle of Earth. In near polar orbit, areas at high altitudes will be imaged more frequently than equatorial zone. So you can clearly imagine that since the pole are visited more frequently compared to the equatorial region, as they have uh, increased number of overlap and adjacent swath as we come closer to the poles. Next comes sun synchronous orbit. So sun synchronous orbit is a special case of polar orbit. Like polar orbit, the satellite travels from north to south pole, okay, as Earth turns below it. In a sun synchronous orbit, satellite passes over the same path of the Earth at roughly the same local time each day. Once again, I want to say that sun synchronous orbit, the satellite passes over the same part of Earth at roughly the same local time each day. The orbit has altitude between 700 to 800 kilometers. These are used for satellites that need a constant amount of sunlight. Okay. A typical sun synchronous satellite completes 14 orbits a day, and each successive orbit is shifted over the Earth's surface by around 2,875 km at equator. Also, the satellite path is shifted in longitude by 1.17 degree approximately, that is 130.54. It shifts every day towards east. Oh, sorry, not towards east, but towards west at the equator. Okay. This has been referenced from the platforms and sensors book. Some of the satellites, as you can see here in the figure, there is a minor shift of, but this shift varies day to day, and at certain time the satellite again revisit. Okay. These are the main feature of sun synchronous orbit. Some of the examples are Landsat satellite, IRS satellite. This is Indian remote sensing satellites. If you search through net, you will get the orbits of Landsat satellites. Landsat satellite 1, 2, 3 in each successive pass on each successive days. Repeat cycle of the satellite, for example, for Landsat is 16 to 18 days, and each day 14 to 15 orbits were covered. Same goes for any of the different satellite. Okay. So now comes the application part. The application part is quite important one when we talk about which orbit is used, when and where, for which application. It's quite important. So remote sensing applications generally use near polar, sun synchronous, near circular orbits most of our remote sensors. When we talk about weather satellite, not meteorology, but some specifics, like if you want to trace gases, if you want some study some outgoing long-wave radiation over the whole Earth, at that time, near polar satellite orbits or sun synchronous orbit or near circular orbit satellites are much more useful. The near polar orientation helps to attain a near global coverage, whereas the near circular orbit, helps to attain uniform swath for the images. See, each and every orbit has its own specific characteristic, and which define the need as per your need of application. You can select any of the orbit. The sun synchronous orbit are preferred for maintaining constant angle between the aspect of incident sun and the viewing of the satellite. So this is one of the application. Beside the satellite orbits, only polar orbits are mainly nearly 90 degree of inclination is there from the equatorial plane, or the difference in gravitational pull. Also, medium orbital period satellites are adapted for orbital period adapted for remote sensing lens so as to assure global coverage in each on single day. Geosynchronous orbit are mainly selected for communication based over a designated region. Similarly, for meteorological satellite over Indian INSAT 3D, INSAT 3 series are mainly used for meteorological aspect. So these are the things that you have to keep in. So as a summary of today's lecture, we have covered uh, first we have covered about the definition of orbit. Then we have gone through the type of characteristics which are required for selecting the orbit. Then types of orbit, and at the end we have seen some of the application uh, of orbits, not off orbit, but which orbit to be selected for which type of application. Okay. Hope you have enjoyed this lecture, and we will meet again with next lecture on sensors and platform. Till then, goodbye and take care. Happy learning.